Welcome to Story Route Zero.
This is a podcast where friends gather to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the strange worlds of video games. We often don't know where we're going, but that's half the fun. Come on the journey with us. Hit us up on Twitter at StoryRoute0. You can send us an email at StoryRoute0@gmail.com. That includes questions, concerns, comments, complaints, pet pics. Send us some recipes. Send us some stories about your day. We're going to listen.
Podcast, start your engines. We have liftoff. Let's have a journey.
Suckers to the side. I know you hate my 98. That's Public Enemy. You're going to get yours for episode 98 of Story Route Zero. My name is Matthew Keel. This is the end of our year. Michaela, 2021 is over. How do you feel?
Tired.
Moose, 2021 is over. How's space?
It's nice. You think it'd get a little bit warmer, but apparently global warming isn't up here. So it's still cold. That's why I got sweatshirt on.
Cool. Jason, you made it through 2021. How's the coffee?
For fuck's sake.
Pretty much.
I do like that mug.
You know what's great about this mug? The design is on both sides, because I feel most mugs, unless you're a lefty, nobody can see the design.
Right. It's a good point. Well, so with the end of the year comes the four of us talking about our top 10 favorite games of the year. And we're going to do that for you. And yeah, let's just skip the BS and get right to it. Let's establish
number one. Boom, done.
Let's establish an order. I'm gonna go from right to left on my screen. It'll be Moose, Michaela, Marshall, me. Is that cool?
Okay.
All right, cool. Moose, honorable mentions and 10.
Starting out, number 3, Golf Story. Finally got to beat that game this year. Loved it because that was a backlog challenge. Number 2 from my honorable mentions is Fist. Love that game. Good combat. Beautiful. Good score. Just need to play more of it. Astro's Playroom is number 1. My honorable mentions. Great game. I really want to see a larger game in that series. Utilizes the controller really well. The DualSense, just fun. Like, I found myself laughing at that game a lot and just having a good time with it. And my number 10 is Scarlet Nexus.
That will be later.
Then I'll shut up and we will move along.
Surprise.
Well, yeah. I figured yours is going to be way down the line. So anyways.
Speaking of later, Michaela, number 10
Yes.
in your honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions, Death's Door. I just felt like I didn't play enough of it. I'm about at the halfway point, so I didn't want to quite include it in my list here. So it's got an honorable mention because it could have done pretty well if I had played more of it. Ratchet and Clank is an honorable mention for me. Great game, very fun, very pretty, good exclusive for the system. Eldest Souls, another honorable mention for me. Love the idea there, the boss rush, Souls-like with beautiful pixel art and music. And then my last honorable mention, just missing the top 10, is Fist as well for me. Really excited to see more of the project games from the CHPJ. Gorgeous visuals, music, fun combat, and fisting. So what's not to love? And then my actual number 10, I am willing to bet will be on at least somebody's list higher than mine, but my number 10 is Kina, Bridge of Spirits.
It'll be mentioned.
Yeah, I know, Bagel. You are super angry about Kina not being on my top 10. but that's where we're
All
at.
right. My honorable mentions. Guardians of the Galaxy. Didn't finish it. Loved it when I was playing it. Didn't love it enough to get back to it every time. I hate games I have to be in the mood for. And that's not even the right way, but MLB The Show 21. I waited for a sale, but I mean, I could have played this all year. It's so much fun just jumping in for 1 or 2 games. And I got called up to AAA the other night. Woo!
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you. Call of Duty Vanguard. After Battlefield's beta and how much I hated it, I was like, I'm going to get this. Loving that. And Far Cry 6. I love the Far Cry games. I don't care what the critics say. You know what you're getting. It's fun. Nonsense, whatever. And my number 10, though, is Biomutant. I was looking, this is probably one of the games I look forward to most on my whole list. I mean, of course, it was looking forward for a number of years, but it delivered for me. I really enjoyed it, platinumed it. I had a blast. And that's it. Matt, you're on the clock.
Okay. What was your number 10? I didn't hear you because I have a dog.
Biomutant.
Biomutant. Okay. Honorable mentions. Really, what probably should be my number 10 is Kena Bridge of Spirits, considering it was all over my categories. But I know, Bagel, it sucks. But I chose to. I ended up picking. Oh, this dog is so frustrating. Come here. Come here. Come here. I can't talk with you like that. There we go. Okay. So Kena is my first honorable mention. After that is Sping, and after that is actually Near Replicant. Near Replicant did not make my top 10. My actual number 10 is Arcus Chroma. It is a 2D fighting game. Still technically in development. It is in early access. You can get it, I believe you can only get it on itch.io. It's developed by GX Grainson. It's juggle based. It's very fun. The music that's there slaps, and it's actually pretty intuitive and pretty pick up and play. And I think it's going to be a title that I play off and on for a very long time. And if multiplayer ever becomes a thing other than on Parsec, I would love to play with folks.
Parsec. Nice.
Number 9, right? I think.
Yes. So I go. My number 9 is Golf Club Wasteland. Had a blast playing that game. Great soundtrack, chill game. I think everybody should just play it just to have a cool game to chill to. But anyways, that's my number 9.
My number 9, I'm willing to bet didn't make anybody else's top 10. Metroid Dread. That game was my first ever actual Metroid. I played many Metroidvanias, but I had never played a Metroid game before. It's not one of the ones I grew up with. And I was a literal child the last time a traditional side-scrolling 2D Metroid came out. So this was great for me. Like I said, the controls took a little bit of adjusting, but visually, this is the most impressive game on the Switch, I think. At least the most visually impressive Nintendo Switch game, instead of like a AAA port of something. Like a cloud version of Dying Light 2 probably will beat it graphically, and I don't really care. It's gorgeous. And it's an incredibly rewarding game to master. And I'm very, very glad that classic Metroid games, as opposed to just Metroid Prime, got some life breathed back into it. And I hope that they continue to run with this series, because I think the response to this game has shown Nintendo that it's not just a cult classic. It is a future franchise for the platform, and it definitely delivered in the quality department. And like I said, it had one of the most satisfying final boss fights for me of the year.
Nice. I actually beat
Very
the
nice.
first boss last night in Dread.
Nice.
Nice.
Number 9 for me is Kena. This game is just absolutely gorgeous. And it took me a while to start it. Like I was kind of going real, but then it got its hooks in me and I just made a beeline for the, like I just kept playing it. Felt good. Combat felt good. Felt I was super comfortable playing it. Story was great. Soundtrack, everything. It just really nailed pretty much every category. I hope we see more. I mean, this studio went from just doing CGI work to a full-fledged video game, and I'd say they nailed it.
It did. It feels like it comes from a studio that doesn't just have experience in animation. Like you can tell in the cutscenes that they know what they're doing, because we keep calling this game playable Pixar, even for good reason.
Yes.
But minus controlling the rot with the weird inversion,
Yes.
the controls otherwise feel really good. Like it comes from coming from a game development studio rather than just an animation studio. And like I said, I liked how not just the environments were puzzles, but the boss fights were puzzles. It's probably the most Zelda-esque game I've ever played without having played a Zelda game. But yeah, adorable. I love that it made me cry. It was very it was like this year's Spirit Fair almost, cathartic game for dealing with your emotions.
100%.
Matt?
Number 9 for me is Boyfriend Dungeon from Kit Fox Games. We do know that I like the roguelikes and the roguelites. I do like a good story, and I'm not afraid of doing a little bit of dating while I'm at it. But the sentient weapons, the story of someone coming to a new town, deciding to get out of their own introversion and meet folks and hopefully go on dates and romance, and using the social aspects to make you tougher in a dungeon was very intriguing to me. And then once I actually started doing that, I didn't really hate a villain as much as I hate the villain in this game, because that guy is toxic masculinity incarnate, and fuck that shit. I think the team at Kitfox did a wonderful job designing this game. It's tight. It's not. It doesn't overstay it well. It's welcome, and it's a nice. I started and beat it in a day, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I would go back again and do more and just do dungeons if that was a thing, but as far as I know at this point, it's not. In order to do that, you just have to start the game over. But Boyfriend Dungeon is a wonderful time. You should play it. That's my number 9.
Moose?
My number 8 is Trigger Witch. I believe Matt nabbed that, and then Jason was talking about it and how crazy it was, and I was like, I want to be part of this conversation. And I love twin stick shooters. Helldivers being my top, and I can't wait for a sequel. So good story. I like that it was pixel art, had a good art style, had a good soundtrack, good weapons, good combat, a cool leveling system where you could just respec at any time, which was nice. Instead of having to like waste money to respec or whatever, you could just do it on the fly. So, and then a crazy twist ending with an off the wall boss fight that just was the icing on the cake, and a pretty simple plat. Pretty straightforward. I guess I shouldn't say simple. It's just a straightforward platinum. So that was pretty nice nabbing that. But anyways, that's my number 8.
Trigger Witch is good. Bagel was all over my honorable mentions, but that would have been on there too.
I don't know if anybody has this one in their top 10. Curse of the Dead Gods is my number 8. All right, we'll hold off then.
Number 8 for me is Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch.
Nice.
Not a perfect game, but I also think it suffered from Jason played too many other Metroidvanias and got spoiled in certain aspects.
You also played it like right after Ender Lilies.
True. So yeah, my complaint about fast travel is not really valid because I was just spoiled. But I mean, the characters were great. The environments. There was some balancing issues, but I mean, you can kind of work through it. And the studio definitely put out number of patches from launch to now. Very impressive. Another one like Kena. Studio made a name for itself. I don't know. Obviously, Kena got more of a billing, but hopefully, I mean, good things coming forward for Fist. Fist also had a PC release, so that helps them. Excellent game, though. Highly recommend. Matt?
I'm going to bet that none of you played Everhood. Everhood is, I think the easy comparisons were done by Victory Position on Twitter. They said it's like Undertale, but Guitar Hero, where you attack God through the power of EDM music. And all of those things sound like they don't really go together. But the story of Everhood is actually, for being I'll say a smaller pixel art game, it's really going after that all-encompassing near type of storytelling where it's not just about individuals, it's about the greater picture and asking really tough questions. And not to mention, it's just a fucking head trip of a ride. While each combat encounter is a Guitar Hero Rock Band track where notes are flying at you, where you have to either dodge or jump. And if you jump and move at the same time, you do a bit of a dodge roll, which is nice. Sometimes the visuals in the background will creep onto the track and try and stumble you. There's more than one battle where the track starts moving in different directions. And with that movement, the controls change. So you might have to switch from going left to right to up to down, or down to up, or vice versa. All of it comes together in a very wonderful package with multiple endings. It does the near thing where you finish and then you basically pick up where you leave off and you go on another route. And the more I think about it, I actually think I would, if I had finished this originally when I had started it way back in like July, I would have probably, because I think I played most of it on a week where I was actually just absent from the show. So, and I just never went back to talk about it. Then I went back and finished the rest of it this past week. And yeah, it may be a consequence of just being new, but that doesn't always mean easy or overrated. It's a wonderful game, and it's on Switch or it's on Steam, and you can have a good old time doing it. So go play it. That's my number 8.
Moose?
My number 7 is Returnal. I didn't get to finish the game, but I had a blast playing it. I enjoyed the combat in it. I felt I feel that Housemarque does a tremendous job with Twitch shooters, I guess you can call them. Next Machina was really good. Also was God, I can't remember the other ones off the top of my head. What was the one that came out with PS4?
Next Machina.
No,
Next Machina.
no, the one that was a side
Resogun.
shooter.
Resogun.
Resogun, thank you. That's it. Resogun was really good. Jeez. Wow, I really blanked out on that one. I also thoroughly enjoyed how it implemented the DualShock controller and the haptic trigger. It was really like you had to get used to it, but it was really cool how you had the alternative fire and the aim down sights on the same button. So like you could just halfway pull the trigger and that was your alt fire, or pull it all the way down and aim down sights. And I feel like I look forward to a lot more games that Sony does and hopefully other developers do that kind of eliminate that. Like I play Ghost Recon Breakpoint and you can put a grenade launcher on the under barrel of your gun. Well, what if that's how I reach my alt fire instead of having to hit button on the D-pad? Like that's pretty badass that you can add 2 triggers or 2 buttons to 1 trigger. So I really enjoyed it. And it applies enough pressure to where you're like, whoa, like it actually stopped me pulling the finger to aim down the sight. So it was really cool the first time it happened. I liked it because it was roguelike. Leveling through the game, the enemies were tough but fair. And then the bosses, I've beaten the first boss, so that's been fun. But yeah, and the story's good. And like Jason said in our category list, the scary moments are just like, what? Like, could we not do this? Thank you. I'm having PT flashbacks. But anyways, that's my number 7.
Right. My number 7 is definitely only on my list. Bravely Default 2. I really, really enjoyed this game. I didn't play the original Bravely Default, didn't have a DS, but this game's job system is really engaging. The turn-based combat is just solid and addicting. The story's kind of wacky, but like in a good JRPG way where nothing is like too unpredictable, but it's also not so basic that you're not engaged with it. Like, I mean, during categories, I think I talked about the pushing cliff at least twice. And some of the characters were pretty endearing. And even though the art style for the characters isn't necessarily my jam, like the chibi 3D rounded like modern Disney looking shit, the backgrounds in this game are just fucking gorgeous. The music is gorgeous. Pretty game, good turn-based, fantastic job system. What else do you want in a JRPG game? And it's got a stupid mini card game thrown in there because it has to. It's like contractually obligated. And it's a Final Fantasy spinoff, so you got like Ochus and shit like that you don't see anywhere else for enemy types. Thumbs up.
Is there fishing?
I don't think there's fishing. I think they just went with the card game.
0 out of 10.
You,
Just kidding. I'm kidding.
remember when you said they want to kill me sometimes?
Earned it.
Number 7, Jupiter Hell. This game was
Another fucking game I need to play. Jesus Christ, Jason.
most of my list is a fuck you, Jason, or it happened already.
Right.
This was, I had a blast. Reviewed this one. Roguelite, old school. Like that Smash Mouth, don't make the all-star joke, Matt. In your face, like Duke Nukem, like dialogue, and it was just so much fun. And one of the few games that I didn't delete immediately after beating, because you could do like 5-10 minute runs on PC. So it was like, oh, I'll just do this. Like, let me try it out. Like, you save at any point. So it was kind of cool. Like, you should play this. If you like roguelikes, if you like, I mean, top down.
It's turn-based too, as well, right?
Turn-based,
Yeah.
but a little different.
but
Like
not slow. It's not slow. Like you can
turn-based, like super hot.
Mhm.
You move,
Yeah.
they move. If you don't, and you can make and you can kind of, yeah. And
But so it's called Jupiter Hell. Would you say it's like walking on the sun?
do your number 7 now.
Nobody else gets that joke, I don't think.
No, I get the joke. I wasn't giving you the laugh,
I
asshole.
stand. I
Okay.
stand by. I stand.
I
by
wasn't
what I
sure.
We all understood the joke. We just didn't. laugh.
Okay.
said. I stand
That's
by what
fair.
I said.
And I stand by my joke. Number 7 for me is Ender Lilies, Quietus of the Nights. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yep, we will.
My number 6 is Curse of the Dead Gods. Is that higher on anyone's list? Maybe. No. Okay. I thoroughly enjoyed Curse of the Dead Gods, even though I cursed it a lot. I like the balancing mechanics of the light and dark, what path you're going to choose, what weapon you're going to get, trying to figure out, do I want money first? Do I want attributes first, upgrades? Well, maybe not weapon upgrades because you want to get weapons first. But anyways, well, you also might start with some good weapons if you level up your altars. I thought the combat was fair, interesting. The curse, I cursed a lot because you get cursed as you're playing. So the bosses were a lot of fun. My favorite boss is still the first boss, the one that summons the dogs. Can't remember
Mhm.
which one he was, but he was a lot of fun. But anyways, I highly recommend checking out Curse of the Dead Gods. I think it's still on Game Pass if you have it, and on PC. I think it's on PC and Xbox. So check it out if you get a chance. Curse of the Dead Gods is good.
Yeah, this is one that I could have very easily slept on this year, and it's my number 8. I just picked it up in a sale, and then we were like, "Oh, we all have this game. Let's play it."
Yeah.
So I'm very glad
Yeah.
we did.
Yeah. Well, access, and then it was like the price of a latte, and I was like, "Let's do it."
Yeah.
Because Matt and I were both going to put it into our backlog challenge nominations, and we're like, "Wait,
Yeah.
let's just do this." And so I'm glad we did. Definitely a game that flew under the radar this year, and I would like to, give as much attention to it as we can. I'm glad we did an episode about it. It's really fun. It's the first time I felt like I was actually good at a roguelike. Like I was good at it, and then I was like, is this game just fucking with me? Am I just getting lucky? And I was like, no, I might actually be kind of good at this.
I'm gonna get memed here. I'm gonna beat the boss, and they're gonna be like, "Haha! Now Curse of the Dead God starts."
That's what I was waiting for.
Now it's
'Cause, like-
time to play the game.
Like my first
Right.
5 runs, I'm like, I'm not dying. Why am I not dying? What's going on?
Y'all are
The
holding
game
back, and I
definitely
don't like it.
lured me in. I really liked the system with the curse stuff. I liked the Darkest Dungeon inspiration. I liked everything about this. The progression, the map, the strategizing, the bosses. Except for the last one, he can still suck a giant fart.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, very good game. Very glad I played it, and it was very addicting. Fun combat system. Brings you back to that loop. It does what a roguelike needs to do.
Does it well.
Okay, look, there's 6.
My 6th. This is another one that's definitely only on my list. Persona 5 Strikers.
Yeah.
I went into this game with very minimal expectations because I'm like, it's a Muso. They're just milking the Persona 5 money at this point. And then I played it and I was like, this is not like any Muso I have ever played. The combat system is much more developed. It feels like Persona as an action game instead of a turn-based game. It's still strategic. Each character plays differently and is worth mastering and maybe not as in-depth of a sense as like mastering different people in Tales of Arise or something like that. That's a little bit more built out. But it was more fun times, more story with the group of characters that you come to know and love from Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal. It is a true sequel to the base Persona 5 game. So yeah, I'm very happy with how that game turned out, and grateful that I got to play it.
Nice.
My number 6 is Ratchet and Clank. This was just a blast, start to finish. Like, I played the last one after it was a plus game. I wasn't like I may have dabbled in the others when they were out, but wasn't like a huge fan. But yeah, I'm a huge fan now. Like, I'll look
Mhm.
forward to the. But this was just fun. Like, there's nothing like, it's silly. It's like, it's goofy. The weapons are just ridiculous. And it was just it was an enjoyable time. The whole it had a little of everything.
And it's
Yeah.
fucking gorgeous.
Well, yes. It
Yeah,
looked
Ratchet
pretty.
and Clank is
It
such
looked-
a
it looked
such a
pretty.
good series. I'm still pissed off that I didn't get to play that, but you know, I'm thankful for the game that took that away from me. We'll talk about that later.
Your number 6, Matt?
My number 6, another one I beat recently because I saw it on Twitter and I'm like, oh, that looks interesting. It's called Elekhead. From what I can tell, it was made by two folks, Nama Takayashi and Tsuyomi. It's a 2D puzzle platformer starring what looks like an enemy from the Mega Man series, and it uses electrical currents to solve puzzles. It's been a long time since a game made me feel smart. Not like when it's probably since The Witness where I felt really smart getting through this game, not because the puzzles are difficult, but because everything makes so much sense. It's not a complicated control scheme. You get one or two abilities on the way, but there's no wasted space here. It's 2 to 3 hour experience. There are 2 endings. There's one ending and one true ending. I don't really think the other ending is technically bad, but I think the true ending is where you get all the collectibles along the way. It's on Steam, it's on itch, and you should play it.
And now the top 5. Dun dun dun. Moose?
Number 5 is Cave Story Plus. It's a damn good game. It's a damn good indie game. Number 1. Number 2, it's a good Metroidvania. Number 3, platforming is great. Weapons are great. Story is good. I had a blast playing it. It was a backlog game for me because I bought it initially when I picked up the Switch because I've heard great things about it, and just other things pushed it to the side. Bigger games, especially Zelda. I think that's probably when I started playing Zelda and got addicted to that. So did get to play a lot of it. So that's why I put it on my list this year. And y'all picked it for me. So I highly recommend it. I think it's on Steam, the Plus version, and it's on Switch. I don't know about other platforms. Like, I think it says on the wiki that it is, but I haven't seen it on the PSN store. And I don't know about Xbox because I ain't got one. And I think the PC version is different. So, or the PC version of Game Pass for accessing that is different. So, yeah, check it out. If you like indies, Metroidvanias, or even a game that's somewhat fun, you'll enjoy it. You'll have a blast with it. So that's my number 5.
My number 5, not sure where this is going to fall for other people, but for me, it is Ender Lilies.
That'll be soon.
Already happened for me.
My number 5 is Deathloop.
Nice.
This was just a riot the whole time, start to finish. Story was interesting, more interesting than I expected. And I like that everything about it was, yeah, you're in a time loop, it's a shooter. It kind of looks like Dishonored because obviously the studio, but like the story, I wasn't expecting the humor, and not just like little quips here and there. Like I know Moose and Matt played enough. Like there's like
Yeah, we
laugh out
dated.
loud moments.
Yeah.
Like it's funnier than because when you play as Corvo in Dishonored, that guy, I mean, I don't think he's ever laughed in his life. I mean, and it's
Corvo's
Arcane.
all business.
I mean, the studio's fantastic. But it was, I really have no complaints. It was a blast to play. I'm glad I got to play it this year. Matt?
So number 5 for me, I'm pretty sure this might be only on mine. Monster Hunter Rise.
Nice.
No takers.
Definitely not on mine.
Not that high, but
Monster Hunter Rise is a wonderful experience. Probably I would say that this is the one to start with. And I only started with World. I didn't play anything before World. I'm probably never going to go try the ones before World. But I didn't have as much fun going through what I went through of World by myself as I did in Rise. Rise is a genuinely, I don't want to say intuitive, but it's intuitive by comparison. And when you get into co-op and multiplayer and going through things with friends, that's where the game shines the brightest for me. Getting into some bullshit with Moose, a couple of times I played with Jason, and then when I played with Op Objectives, Atma, and Julian, probably some of the most hilarious incidences in multiplayer shenanigans since when Moose and I were both playing Bloodborne a lot, or when we were playing Helldivers all through 2015. It's one of like, just in the way that I remember those things, I will remember my time in Monster Hunter Rise, and that's why it's my number 5. I had an absolute ball, and while I don't boot it up nearly as much as I should, because life has sort of taken the reins, as it were, but I do love Monster Hunter Rise, so that's my number 5. Thank you, Capcom, for making these past 2 Monster Hunter games just easier for new folks.
nice.
Moose.
Number 4, With a Bullet, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Had a blast playing it, finally beating it. It's got good.
The Keanu game. Oh wait, no, that's a different thing.
That's another thing. It had good gunplay, leveling system. They upgraded the game mechanics from Wildlands, including actually they added back the AI squad, but they gave you sync shot drones that you can use, and then you also have classes, and they have a gear score type system, and it's not as big. Aurora is not as big as what was it in Brazil? Wildlands, Jason?
Bolivia, I think.
Bolivia.
Bolivia. Yeah. Never mind. Correction. But it's not as big of a world, but it's more dense, and there's a lot more to do. And you just find yourself moving from, piece of candy. Piece of candy. Piece of candy. And there's some cool end game stuff to do. And then they just dropped some DLC, free DLC, There's a lot of free DLC for the game. There's a lot of different modes that you can put. Like, I could put a world parameter on where there's Terminators in the world that'll come in that you have to take on and kill them. You know, there's a world parameter where it's where I think it's called it's like a nerve gas, and you actually have to manage your filters to be able to survive in the nerve gas and handle missions and all that stuff. I completed that DLC when it came out, but the latest one is kind of, I think, like an after it. Well, not kind of. It is an after story after the main story, but I believe it to be what they wanted to complete the story. I think we're moving in a direction. They kind of left the story open-ended, and I feel like this DLC is kind of like, we are finished with Breakpoint updating it. Here's your last little DLC to experience the story end cap of that. And I'm looking forward to finishing that. I'm about halfway through recapturing all the zones on the island. And Jeff and I have been playing it, so it's a great co-op game. I've been playing with my buddy Sneaky Troll, having a blast. Co-op is a lot of fun, especially when you're trying to go into a base quiet. Somebody messes something up, and you just got to be like, all right, we're going loud. Take the silencers off to do more damage, and you're just aiming for headshots. But it's a lot of fun. It's a blast. If you like third-person shooters, I highly recommend it. It's usually on sale. You can get it pretty cheap. In fact, it was on Black Friday sale. I'm sure it'll be on Christmas sale. But yeah, it's a blast. I love it. Anyways, that's my number 4.
Awesome.
My number 4, I'm gonna turn it right back to Moose real quick. Scarlet Nexus.
Scarlet Nexus is a blast. Like, all right, listen, okay, I don't play a lot. I don't watch anime. I don't play a lot of like JRPGs as I used to, and I want to play more. And so when I saw it was on sale, I'm like, it's striking time. I was like a cobra looking at somebody that pissed me off. And I was just like, ugh! I just went in there, nabbed the sale, jumped in with both feet. It was like, we're going in with the sharks, not in a bad way, but I was like, let's go. Story is pretty crazy. Characters are pretty cool. Some of them kind of like tick me off. The female main character, I'm like, why you gotta be a bitch? And I'm like, we'll figure it out later, I'm sure, you know. So anyways, that's what I picked to play as the female protagonist. But anyways, then you have your party system. You also have a system that's in play kind of like if you've ever played Mass Effect 2, where you have your loyalty missions. You have a way to build up your loyalty with your party members in Scarlet Nexus. And that's pretty badass, I think. The abilities that you have as your, combat, it's like strong attack, regular attack, strong attack, and then you can use your special abilities as you're running around, pulling stuff and throwing them at enemies. And then there's not only that, you can use your party members' abilities. So there's like electricity, fire. I really like the clairvoyance one, which was cool because it was like being able to see things that are invisible. So like you might be in an area where an enemy just spits out fog and you can't see anything. So you have to use your party members' ability to be able to see things. So it kind of like clears it out for you and you can go after the invisible enemies and whatnot. I like that aspect of it. I like the leveling system in it, where you can be like, I want to have I got a second jump. And Jeff fired it up and started playing too. He's like, Moose, he's like, how do I get over to this area over here? It was the beginning area with the like bulldozer boss. And I'm like, oh, you have to like put some points in the skill tree and get a double jump, and then you can go over in there. And he's like, oh, okay. But there's also like hitting harder in your attack, like more health, just like a kind of a regular, leveling tree. But I feel it complements the game pretty well. The equipment is pretty cool. Like, you're just, changing out your weapon, and then you have 2 mod slots, I believe, that you can change out, if I remember correctly. But enemies are like crazy. Like I said, there's a one that's a vase with like, it looks like a planter almost. It's like a cone planter with like hind legs off a cat. I think it even has a tail, and it has a flower coming out the top. And that thing comes at you like a mother trucker, and you don't mess around with it. Like, you see that thing, it's like, let's zero in on that and knock it out. But The enemies are varied. Combat is just awesome. I agree with Michaela. It is very Platinum Games like, and very much in that same like league. Like, I think they did a tremendous job with that. So I am extremely excited to finish the game. And then also I can't wait to see what they do next, that developer. But
so for me with Scarlet Nexus, this was another one, like Curse of the Dead Gods, that I could have potentially slept on. This is not one that I was super anticipating. Like, I remember the reveal at the Xbox event the summer before, and I was just like, okay, looks like an anime game. We'll see how that goes. And I didn't actually get super excited for it until I played the demo within a couple weeks of the release window, and I was like, oh shit, that's dope. I was like, if this is how this game actually feels and sounds and everything, I'm gonna pick this up. And I did, and I played it day one, and I platinumed this game. And it was a really fun roller coaster. And I've said it many, many times in the most loving way possible. This story is batshit nonsense, and it shouldn't work. And for a lot of people, maybe it doesn't. But it was the fun kind of nonsense that you want to be along for this ride. And it's like,
you're pretty much just like, I'm going to suspend belief and just go with it. We're just going with it, okay? It's just let it take me on this adventure.
The monsters from Shin Megami Tensei are eating people's brains, descending from the moon because there's a colony on the moon that doesn't give a shit about you. But also there's time travel and like parallel worlds, and who fucking knows? It's literally like they took Nier Automata and Shin Megami Tensei and Platinum Games and like everything else random in an anime ever and like smooshed it together with a bunch of duct tape. And I don't give a fuck. It's great. One of the
all of that makes total sense.
Yeah, it's just like 1 + 1 + 1 equals 70 billion. It's like, what the fuck did you do? And why do I love it?
Yeah.
It's like Paul Hollywood in The Great British Bake Off. What have you done?
It's overworked. But
not well proven.
But one of the things that really took me by surprise in this game was the soundtrack. And I have on many occasions described it as like two different composers playing a tug of war for control over the music in this game, where you have like your Japanese punk rock, like Dream and Drive, Oral Cigarettes, the music you would expect in like an anime ass looking Astral Chain motherfucking looking game that like bumps. And then you've got these really sad melodic strings and orchestral moments. And I like that. It's a tug of war that works. It's another thing. This whole game is just a mashup of shit that doesn't go together and sings. And like Moose was talking about, the combat is just addicting. It is so much fun because sometimes there's hack and slash that is mindless. There's hack and slash that is frustrating. This is hack and slash that was engaging from hour 1 to hour 50, and I was sad when it was over. Because playing around with all of the different brain link abilities, like it's fun to hit shit with a sword. Yeah. It's fun to hit shit with a sword while you can telekinetically fling like concrete chunks around. It's even more fun to set that shit on fire and fling it around. And you can do all of that at the same time and then teleport across the screen and duplicate your shit and then slow down time and just wreck shop on these nightmare fuel anime, I don't even know what monsters. Wow, the world is falling apart. One character is like slowly rotting his brain from the inside out. The other one, like her sister turned into like a giant house with a face and legs, like Baba Yaga on fucking steroids. Don't even know what. And then the moon people. And you're like, okay, clones, let's go. And you just say yes. It's a game where you just keep saying yes.
He's like, all right, let's do this. What do I gotta do?
This sounds like Control, the anime.
Sure. It's literally everything you can think of, like, that was a weird shit. Yep. Yes, it was.
The developers are like, just wait.
That was weird.
Wait for it.
But yeah, so yeah, very, very good game with some like all the characters are super JRPG archetypes. Like the quiet one who does the planting we've talked about. I love Tsugumi. The tsundere, the pro tag boy. But you know what? They actually did a really good job of exploiting those archetypes, and the characters are endearing despite them, for the most part.
Cool. I'm excited to play it. I will definitely play it next year.
You will like it.
Yeah, you will.
If I don't, I'm going to be angry with myself at this point. Hearing you and Moose say what you've said about it, both here and just in other channels. If I don't like this, clearly I'm the problem.
I think it, for me, will be one of the most underrated games of this year that people won't talk about as much going forward.
Yeah.
So I will die on this hill. I will stand this game.
I'll die on that hill with you. Yeah, it's good. It's a great game.
My number 4 is Ender Lilies. Okay, Matt.
That's everybody. Oh wait, no, it's not. It's not. Okay. My number 4 is, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the only one here. Hitman 3. Early in the year, IO Interactive laid down a marker in terms of a good game, and I stuck with it for as long as I could before life got in the way, as it usually does when you work in healthcare. But I think that they hit this one. 2016, Hitman 2016 was a revelation. Hitman 2 was proof that it wasn't lightning striking, like it wasn't luck. It wasn't just like, hey, people were ready for more Hitman. Hitman 3 is not only the bow that ties the story together, it also brings the games together in the best of ways. I think it runs the best out of all 3. It utilizes everything from 2016 and 2018 very, very well. And I think the elusive targets here are among the better elusive targets in the series. I will say this, nothing quite tops the Sean Bean elusive target from Hitman 2. I mean, but doing,
Because he's supposed to die, right?
Right. But doing the elusive targets here are very, very fun. And I think that apart from the final level, which is, I will probably say, one of the weaker designs in the Hitman franchise post 2016, I think it's appropriately designed and appropriately placed where it is. And I think it's because it's more story and there's more lore in there than just the self-serious silliness that Agent 47 will get into. And the fact that you could basically play the other 2 games in this game is a triumph in terms of replayability. And the fact that as of right now, they brought back Holiday Hoarders again, which, if you don't know what Holiday Hoarders is, it's where you are Agent 47 and you go and kill the 2 criminals in the Home Alone movies.
Ah, nice. I remember them mentioning that last year.
Like the names are plays on them, and they are just about as dumb and silly, and you can kill them in so many silly ways. And then if you do all the little things, you get a Santa outfit, and you can walk around any Hitman level dressed as Santa. Perfection. Nice. And yeah, I'm so glad that they are planning on adding the elusive target arcade in 2022, as well as possible new maps, because while I didn't play the new maps that they added to 2 until 3, those maps are pretty ridiculous, and I'm excited to do that again. I kind of wish they did some more sniper stuff, because while I didn't engage with that until this year, just because I wanted to get all of the trophies and whatnot, those were actually a lot smarter than I expected them to be. But Hitman 3 is my number 4 game of 2021.
Have you tried it on PS5, or has it been that long?
No, I
since you've been back to it?
actually, you know what? No, I did. I booted it up on PS5, and I think I did. Which level did I do? I think I did Miami, and I'm like, yep, doing this is still fun.
Yeah.
So
I was just wondering if it was a pretty decent step up as far as like performance and 60 FPS.
I think if I had played the other levels, I would know more. But since I only played Miami and got the kills, and I was like, yep, Silent Assassin, cool, I'm out. And
Yeah.
but I'll continue. Okay. Yeah, I know, Bagel. I know.
Cool.
Story Route Zero, we have some cool friends who do some cool things, and I'd like to tell you about them. Phoenix Overdrive uses the power of games and gamers to help heal sick kids through the charity Extra Life. Phoenix Overdrive fundraises for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all year, every year, and the fun culminates in a 24-hour gaming marathon. Find out more about their events and projects online via Facebook at facebook.com/Phoenix Overdrive or on Twitter and Instagram at PHX_Overdrive. You can also join the Facebook group of Pawn Stars at facebook.com/groups/PO Nation in order to share and discuss all the latest in nerd culture. They've also got a podcast, Nerd Overdrive, which you can see weekly at youtube.com/Phoenix Overdrive. You can also catch it on Facebook Live or twitch.tv/PHX_Overdrive. That podcast is also published on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and Stitcher. You want merch? They got merch. Merch can be ordered from tinyurl.com/PHXODmerch, a portion of which goes to their fundraising efforts. Join the nation and be a hero to sick kids, as El Capitan Rey Osorio, Lee the Maestro, and Becky, the lovely queen of the guild, always say, #Rise Above. Thank you for listening to Story Route Zero. We hope you have enjoyed your time here as much as we've enjoyed having you. Once again, questions, concerns, complaints, pictures of pets, or favorite recipes can be sent to storyroute0@gmail.com. You can yell at us on Twitter @StoryRoute0. Rate us and review us on iTunes, YouTube, or wherever you may have found us, as it helps with discoverability. If you'd like to hit us up individually, you can find Moose Cool @Sven, that's SVHENN on Twitter, PSN, Instagram, and of course Twitch, streaming games. You can find Jason Marshall writing at obelisk.co. You can also find him on Twitter @GimpyJ with 2 Y's at the end, as well as PSN, Instagram, and Twitch. He also has his own website, whereisthepausebutton.com. You can find Michaela Crescione doing all sorts of writing at obelisk.co, as well as on Twitter @RedXMaud. My name is Matthew Keel. You can find me everywhere I'd like to be @infinite_rewind. That's Twitter, that's Instagram, that's Twitch, that's PSN, and I also have my own website, infiniterewind.com. Be sure to check us out at all the places. You are always welcome, and you will always have a seat waiting for you on this ride. Thank you for listening, but for now, it's back to the real world for us. So we will see you on the next one.